going to unbox and take a quick look at Battalion, War of the Ancients. This is designed by Paolo More and Francesco Sorocci. Probably mispronounced that, and I apologize if I did. But it's based on some games that I have but have never covered, and that include these pocket battle games, which were done by Z-Man. Fantasy game, Orcs versus Elves, Macedonians versus Persians, Celts versus Romans, and Confederacy versus Union. Again, these were all pocket battles, games done by Z-Man. And they had, they were kind of miniature-like games. And that is really what this game is. It's kind of a miniatures-esque type of game in that you don't have miniatures, but you kind of have units that are, kind of put together or portrayed kind of like you would see a miniatures portrayed. And so I'll probably end up putting this in my miniatures playlist, along with other games that I've covered like that, or the Heroes series, the Heroes of Normandy and all its iterations. I might end up creating a whole new playlist for miniatures-like or miniatures-esque. I don't know what to call it because it's really not miniatures, but the whole look and feel and how you do orders feels very much like a miniatures game without all the muss and fuss of painting. But, that's enough of all that. Let's read the back of the box here. Assemble your armies and maintain order in this dynamic war game inspired by epic battles from ancient history. Employ faction-specific tactic cards to outmaneuver your opponents. Compose your unique forces with rigor. Judge the tempo of battle with precision. Seize victory for your people. So this has got a very interesting mechanic, which again was first introduced, I believe, in these pocket battle games, where you're going to be issuing orders to these units or groups of units to do certain things. But you also, as they get, I think, disrupted or disbanded, we'll see what the word for it is in here. But that's going to take away your orders, because you end up flipping these orders or commands over to like the disrupted side, and they stay on the unit until you get a chance to rally. And when you rally, you're going to add a card from your hand from a set deck, and when that deck runs out, the game kind of runs out. So that deck of cards is kind of your life in somewhat of respects, but it's the extent of your command. And in order to, refresh and get some of these commands back, you have to, draw to that deck. So it's a very interrelated system in how it's portraying, kind of cohesion or damage to your units, and command, and kind of the end game scenario of the game. And the way you win this game, you're going to have a left and a right and a center. And if you ever remove all the units of your opponent from the center, you win the game. And so and there's a way to kind of replenish the center and move units. It's all very, very tactical, right? It says also here, Battalion, War of the Ancients is a standalone game. Take command of one of 4 historic factions, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Yes, the units are very unique. They're not just repeats of the other side. They have their own different advantages and disadvantages. You have the formidable Roman legion and their allies. You have the renowned Greco-Bactrian cavalry fighting for every oasis. You have the chariots and crossbowmen of the Han dynasty as they traverse unfamiliar deserts, and you have Hannibal's diverse array of mercenaries, elephants, and the Sacred Band of Carthage. So it sounds to me that this is going to be somewhat anachronistic in that you have some of these units that probably didn't fight against each other. I don't know. We'll see when we get inside of the box here. But this is from Osprey Games, and this finally kind of went on sale to the point where it wasn't a bargain, but it was still like good enough for me to pick up, because I do enjoy those pocket battle games. Again, part of the sale of the pocket battles was that it's in the name, right? It's a pocket battle. You can These didn't take up any room at all. You can kind of throw them in your pocket and, you know, pull them out and play wherever you want to play. But again, very much a miniatures oriented game. There's those orders, which, you know, has the kind of your life or damage on one side and the orders and commands on the other. But it's all a bunch of little miniatures, right? Or a bunch of little chits that represent the different units and their different unique abilities. There's some iconography to it, and I expect to find that iconography in here as well. Maybe not the same, but a similar system. A very, very sturdy, thick box. Very, very thick box from Osprey there. Here is the rule book. Are the rules, and you have a quick reference here on the back. I love it when they don't waste space with a blank back. You got a quick reference or a player aid here. So you got redeployment, commanding a unit, and your command units may assault, barrage, charge, or rally. No, sorry, they may assault, barrage, or charge, and then you have rallying as something you can do, and then here's attacking, disbanding, and empty sectors. So there you have that. A quick overview. Here is an overview here. Here are your components. Here's the rank tile breakdown. So here's how you read these tiles. And we'll get to the artwork, but the artwork looks kind of cool. It's not a top-down artwork like you might see in the Heroes series that I covered. It's a side view, but very aesthetically pleasing, at least to me. So you've got regular infantry, skirmish infantry, cavalry, and special there. You've got some of the units explanation there. Here's the battlefield. So this is where you're going to see your flanks and then a center, and the center is the key. You're trying to, you know, create a gap in the center so you can blow through to the other side. That is how you win the game. So there's a lot of maneuvering units from your flank into your center or reinforcing the center as you might have it. Sectors, engagement zone, formation zone, and camp. So your formation zone is here, and your camp is here. All right. Fighting the battle. Talking about different actions between redeployment, and your action is either rally or command. Again, when you rally, you're able to draw back up, but you have a limited number of times you can do that, and then command is issuing those commands. Here are tactic cards, which kind of augment your orders. Here's commanding a unit and putting an order. So it's disorder. Yeah, so you either have order or disorder, and those disorder eat up your commands because you have a limited number of commands, and they stay on the unit until you rally. So here's all the how to play. It's full color. It looks relatively easy to get into, although there's a lot of text on here, but I'm assuming that it's not that hard. The rule books for Pocket Battles are really kind of small little rule books there. So let's get a little closer here. Sorry for the glare. Here's taking hits, winning the battle. So really not that many rules when you look at it. Pretty much after you get an explanation of the units and the battlefield, you've got from page 6 to page 14, so about 8 pages of rules. Here's some specific traits. Again, not all units will have these traits. These are assigned to certain units that have that ability. Here's a 4-player battle, so you can play up to, I think you can play 2-player or 4-player, which I think might be groups of 2. Yeah, you have a much more elaborate system here, it looks like. So some setting up some battles here. And these are set battles for some of the different factions. So here's Greco-Bactrian versus Carthage. Here's Roman versus Han. Roman versus Carthage. Han versus Greco-Bactrian. So you got all the different factions and how kind of have a set way to set it up. And then there's an example of play on page 22. So there you have it. Now we got some blank space. And then a historical note. Okay, so rules look relatively easy to digest. Here are the units, very thick counters. As you can see, they're very thick counter stock. and they kind of have this unit, so you can kind of, they have kind of indentions here, so you can kind of link them together. So you can link these groups together so you know that they're part of a unit that's going forward when you give commands and the like. You have all your information on there, as you expect from a war game. They're single-sided because the units either have commands, they either have nothing, or they have commands, or they have disruption, and that's it. Or they're eliminated, right? So I kind of like the art on there. Very nice. And several of these counter sheets. These are basically all your different units. Well, here's war chariots right there. You can see those. Step horse archers. Very cool. Now we're going to get in some of the Romans here. There you have it. There's all the different units. And your camps are very thick. These are going to fly out just by lifting them up. But you have your tactics card, your discard, and your command tokens go there. So this will sit on the very back for your camp. And you're going to have that for each of the 4 different factions there. Very thick and nice. You have an insert, and this is all the units I should fit back in here. You know, put them face down so you can pull them out easy. You have dice, 8-siders. You have your tokens, got some silica in there too. So there's your command tokens for the command, and then for this disruption. And you have a black and a white for the 2 sides. And then we have some 4-player. These are some how to play cards, I imagine, or kind of player aid. Here's a 4-player sequence. All right, trait. So here's your trait aids, explaining all the different traits that you might have on your units to know what they do, what kind of special actions they have. Here's a turn aid. So we got this trait aids. They got 4 of those because you can have up to 4 people, and then it has the your turn actions on the. Well, I guess you have 4 trait aids, but then you have 2 of the player aids, a turn aid, and then a continuation of it on the flip side. Good, nice, a little bit like tarot cards, but good, thick quality cards. Osprey does pretty good on their quality of their cards. And then you have these tactics for each of the different factions. They have their own set of tactic cards here, as you can see here, doing kind of giving you special actions that you can do different things. And you're going to have a limited number of hands, but once you get through that deck, I think you're done. I believe that's how it's working here. I don't believe the pocket battles had tactic cards. I think they just had the units, and it was just about commands and taking hits. If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I played them. So these are all the different tactics for the different factions. So again, very much, very, very tactical, and a lot of decisions to be had there. So there you have it. That is all that you get in a box of Battalion, which I heard somebody say the other day. I can't remember where I was at when that happened, but they said, that there weren't battalions in ancient times. They didn't have that concept, so it's kind of a misnomer there. But given that you might be having some units that never fought against each other and might have some anachronistic type aspects, then what's one more, right? So there you have it. That is what you get in a box of Battalion. I'm anxious to get this, and it is ancient, to get this to the table. This is really not a solitaire friendly game. This is, kind of an opposed game at its best. So I'll have to figure out how to find somebody for that. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and let me know what you think about this, or you can talk about any of the pocket battles if you want as well. Anyway, take care. Thanks for watching.